Hey everybody, it's JJ and welcome back to the channel. I am excited to be here tonight because I'm going to be talking about a book I just finished reading. You see, I have never really read any cozy fantasy. It's not one of those things that I really enjoy. I like sword and sorcery, I like epic fantasy, I like fast thrillers and space travel and space battles and those type of things. Cozy fantasy just never really was one of those things I thought I would really enjoy. But I picked up a book when I was at Railmakers Expo by ZS Diamante. He goes by the name ZS Diamante, and it is called Guard in the Garden. Now, I brought this book home. I picked it up and I was like, man, I don't know. Low stakes fantasy. I just don't know if I'm going to enjoy it. First of all, let's just talk about Zach. Zach is an incredible personality. I connected with this guy right out of the gate. He's fun, he's energetic, but one thing that I thought was interesting is the fact that he is a war veteran. And he's writing about a dwarf in this book who suffers from PTSD. And I thought that was really compelling and just really unique and fascinating to kind of bring that element that's sometimes not really explored in fantasy and bring it into the fantasy. What do you do whenever you can't fight in the battles anymore? This is a story that is about a dwarf by the name of Felton. And Felton is a dwarf who has been off in battle for quite some time. Now, I'm going to try and do this without giving spoilers, but if you haven't read it, I would probably encourage you, look, even though I'm not giving the spoilers, I would encourage you to go read the book and then come back to this video. The thing about Felton is that he has been injured and he has gone back to his village and he's moved in with his quirky aunts, and he's trying to get back into the war. He's trying to get back into battle, but his leg is injured and there's just not opportunities for him to really step back in. And I kind of understand that because while I've never been a soldier, I have been in careers where this was the path that I knew and it was the only thing I knew. And then when that was taken away from me, I had to really kind of wrap my head around, what am I going to do now? I feel so worthless. And I can understand and identify with this idea of what it means to come home from battle and war and experience the horrors that you've seen in your mind and just can't erase it all. And then to come back and just wonder, what am I going to do now? And that's a tough question. I think it's a question that many of us can identify, whether we've been a war-torn soldier or we've been the CEO of a company who's been let go, or we've been a teacher who no longer has the opportunity to teach, or whatever. There's so many instances where we can identify with Felton and the fact that we have walked away from something, sometimes because doors were slammed in our face, or sometimes it was just the right call to make at the time. And then you ask yourself the question, what am I going to do with myself now? There's this feeling of hopelessness, this feeling of like I'm not complete, and this feeling where you're sort of searching for what it is you're meant to do, but it just feels like everything is pulling you back in the direction that you're going. And that is what Felton is going through. I identify with Felton in many ways. Even though I haven't been a soldier or anything like that, I connected with him. I understood his struggle. I know what it means to have things taken away from you and wonder, what am I going to do next with my life? And Felton is struggling and dealing with that. There's not a lot of high stakes in this story. And it's one of those things that takes place in just one small little quaint village that I absolutely fell in love with. But the entire time I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the story of Felton and the two girls that he has met, Tilly and her daughter Lily, who she tends the garden and he's the guard within this district, I just sat there and I thought, I got to know what happens next. I kept turning the page, even though there wasn't a lot happening on the page as far as high stakes type of storytelling. They weren't on some epic quest. They weren't trying to save the world or anything like that. It was very low stakes, but yet I found myself falling in love with these characters, and I found myself wanting to know what happens next. what decision, what choice is Felton going to make. And I think that we can all identify with Felton. I think we can all identify with Tilly as well, who is this character that is just so full of life and just loves to give a part of herself to everybody that's around her and to just give it away freely and serve her community. We all know somebody like that. And yet, I found myself falling in love with her as well as a character that I just wanted to see something good happen to her. And I think that's what makes this story so interesting and what makes it really so connecting for so many people, especially in this insane world that we find ourselves currently living in. It's that type of story there you want to root for the person that may not necessarily have everything. And so when I think of Guard in the Garden, it is the type of story that touches your heart. It's the type of story that makes you slow down and sort of think to yourself, what is going to happen? What is happening in the world around me? And how can I be a better person in the midst of the chaos? So I highly recommend Guard in the Garden by ZS Diamante. It's a fabulous story. It's one of the stories that you will instantly connect with. I give it 5 stars. And this is definitely one of those books I will be coming back to and rereading in the years to come. It's that good. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video. Later.